Hi, this is Elvira from Scrapinmantherapy, and welcome to another episode of Scrapping Therapy. Today I'm going to try a new technique, and where I am going to take this picture and I'll place it here, and then I'm going to put a lot of embellishments and things like that on the picture, and I'm going to put flowers, and then I'm going to go over with gesso and sprays. I'm not sure, I've seen some technique on YouTube called Finnabair, and I'm not sure what technique that is. It's just I've noticed that the people that do have videos that says they're Finnabair is mainly, you know, they take a canvas and they just add dimension to that canvas. They recycle pieces of computer chips. They put keys and all kinds of stuff. So I want to do the same thing, and I'm going to use this face to kind of fill it up with dimension. However, one thing I want to do is, because it's going to be dimensional, I want to be able to close this book. So what I'm thinking that it might be nice if I cut two of these and then glue these two together, so that way I have a little bit of depth within these pages. Like actually it might be three that I want to cut. So I have a little bit of that, so I can put my image in there, pile it up with stuff, and that way when I close it, it still will close nicely. I want to use some of these things that I've created with my hot glue. I also have some of these that I want to use as well. I have some more stuff here, some more clay pieces that I've created in other tutorials that I've shown you how to do these. And this one is kind of empty. Well, there's some. I don't think I may use that. I just want to use all my stuff that I've created, and I just want to pile it up into this this art journal. I also want to use, I've been creating flowers and putting them in here. So I want to use some of these flowers. I'm going to add it in there and so forth. So we'll see what comes out of this invention. But the first thing I need to do is I need to glue three of these pages together, cut out the centerpiece, make sure that my image will fit perfectly on the centerpiece, and then that I'm going to go and add dimension from there. So let me go ahead and do that. And I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. So you and I are going to do this for the first time. So I think what I want to do is, first I want to kind of map it out. Let's see. I need to give enough of a border so that way, yeah, so just enough of a border, like there. I don't think it needs to be that perfect. Oops. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, and actually I need my heavy duty. When I have something that's real thick, I pull out my heavy duty X-Acto knife. And I don't want to be that exact. Then make sure that I cut this piece out. You can always save this for something. Oops. Okay. Before I cut this one, I really want to glue it down and then allow it to dry. So that way it will be nice and sturdy. So let me go ahead. So what I'm going to do is put adhesive here, glue it down, allow it to dry, then cut this out, and then do the same thing with here, put adhesive. And I think I'm going to do it 3 thickness. Maybe. You know what? I may just do all 4 thickness because this is my last page. And that way it'll be nice and thick and I can really pile up the stuff around it and it will close nicely. So let me go ahead and do that and I shall be back. So I put some clips on here and I make sure that it's nicely dry before I did this next step, which was I took some drywall tape, I cut them in strip and then I cut them in squares and rectangles, and I'm just placing them on this page, you know, no rhyme or reason, no pattern. It's just to give some texture, and I'm using some stick glue that comes in a jar and it's called Yes Glue. It's acid free, and I really like this glue because it doesn't really buckle your paper and it keeps everything here pretty well. Now that I have everything glued down, I'm just going to go over it with gesso, and actually I'm going to go over the entire double spread page with gesso just to make sure that the colors are even, and that when I start laying my elements down that it will have an even coat. So now I'm ready to adhere my picture. So I cut her out and I just make sure that when I cut her out that it was going to fit right nicely in the center of that frame. And then I'm going over it with some clear gesso just to give her some tooths, because I am going to go ahead and paint her and start adding the elements. I got too anxious here and I started getting the flowers, and I started gluing some of the flowers on her before I actually painted her. So you'll see in a second that I put a couple of flowers and then I realized my mistake. So then I go ahead and kind of stopped the video and I pulled out my paint, and you'll see the next step was to just make sure that I paint her completely in. that I do off camera is that after I had everything glued, you'll see that on the final photos, I should have painted the background black. So that way it will help her pop out more from the page. So if you are doing the same technique that I'm doing here, I think if you put her background black, it will look a lot nicer and it really will make her stand out more. So just you may want to do that. And then this aqua pen that you see there, I actually fill that with some India ink, and I've been using that lately for my art journal, and it comes out pretty nice. I really like it. You are going to need a very heavy duty glue to adhere all these dimensional pieces down. So I'm using E6000 to glue my pieces down. Now the E6000 is not a quick drying glue, so I recommend that once you glue everything, all your pieces down, set it aside for at least 8 hours to let it dry, and it will really get solid there before you go over it with the gesso. I kept piling stuff up, just pulling things from my stash, and it was getting a little scary because I'm not used to having a lot of stuff on my art journal pages or my layouts. And it looks like the Finnabair technique is just to lay on embellishments and flowers and even odd stuff. I've seen some videos where they're using computer boards and other elements that you will have never dreamed about to put on your layout. They are using those to create the pages, and at the end of everything, it looks very nice. I really like it. At the beginning, when I see them put all the stuff down, it's like, doesn't look that nice, but then at the end product is very nice. And I think one of the things that make this technique or this art form really work is that you use gesso to kind of even out all the colors, so that way they all are the same color. And then after you put the gesso, you go over it with different color sprays, and it just, I really like it. So I mean, I recommend that you try this. It may make you kind of think twice before you start putting these things down. You may do like what I did. I was like, it looks a little scary, but it does work fine. So the last thing that I did was put gesso throughout the whole page. And then after I put the gesso, now my iPad ran down of battery, so I needed to charge it up. So while it was charging, I went ahead and finished with the gessoing, and I used some of my homemade sprays that I create with printer ink, and I use that for here to put some color here. And of course, if you put a color here, you want to repeat it somewhere on the other side of the page. So then I put a little bit of more of this color around here, and of course I put yellow and green. So I had this green that I created, and I also used this yellow, and I put it throughout the whole background first. Then after I did that, I took this and I sprayed there, or actually it was this color. This is the color that I used. And I sprayed that there, and then after I completed that, I went ahead and used this color, and I sprayed that there and around the other edges. And then after I had everything sprayed and dry, I went ahead and used some of this rub, Inca Gold rub, metallic rub, and I rubbed that around the edges and around some of my embellishments here. And then I took some of the gold and I put some around here. So, and then I just took a half charcoal. So I got some charcoal blocks. So I took this and I used that to create my hearts. Then I used these cheapy old watercolor crayons, and I used that to put some color here. And then I did use my painters, Sharpie painters, and put a little bit marking there and there. And then I did something that I saw is I filled one of these watercolor brushes with some of my calligraphy ink. So this is India ink, and I used that to draw the letters here, U, and I also used it a little bit for the eyes, for the mouth, and things like that. So this works very nicely, and let me show you. Now this is a little cheapy little paint thing that I got, and this is just, I was playing with watercolor and stuff like that. Let me see if I find a better one. Okay, let's use this. So try to find something I can use. Okay, let's use this. So you put the India ink in here, and just make sure you got a nice fine tip, and see how you can use that. You just squeeze it a little bit to make it, to start working it, and then see how you can really use it to write on your journal. It's perfect. I really like it. You can also use it to draw like your face if you want to. You know, it will also work well like that. So I really like this technique. I were using a calligraphy pen, but this works a lot better than a calligraphy pen. So then I use that to write my word art, and then I use a painter's to go over it, and that's how I completed this page. So I hope you liked this video, and thank you for watching. Bye now.